Steve Cook's QPR goals are like London buses apparently, because his second volleyed goal in as many matches sealed a 1-0 win away at Swansea on Easter Monday, not only making it back-to-back wins for QPR, but widening that gap between Rangers and the relegation zone to 6 points. Let's break down another brilliant result, and don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you enjoy the video. There was very little time for fans and players alike to relish Jimmy Dunn's 92nd minute screamer, because Swansea were waiting right around the corner on Monday afternoon, and the home side were in their second best form of the season heading into this match, with just one loss in their past 6 appearances. Though a dour 1-1 draw away at Sheffield Wednesday on Friday afternoon, following a confident 2-0 derby win against Cardiff before the international break, probably best sums up their inconsistent season so far. Now, after our gut-busting performance against Birmingham on Friday afternoon, I was expecting some rotation here, but I was quite surprised to see the extent of the changes that Martí Cifuentes was making. First of all, Morgan Fox came in at the back for Kenneth Powell, missing from the bench through illness, meaning in true Pep Guardiola fashion we were fielding 4 centre-backs in defence. Colback replaced Hayden, less surprising after he came off with a knock in the second half against Birmingham, while Joe Hodge, who we've not seen start a game since Rotherham at home, replaced Anderson, who did look a bit off the mark in his last appearance. Paul Smith earned himself a start in place of Chris Willock, and finally Lyndon Dykes came in for Frey. As I say, I hadn't expected to see this many changes, and if there was going to be anyone that was going to be replaced, I thought it might be Elias Chair, who looked absolutely spent at the end of the Birmingham match. But I didn't really have any complaints about this side apart from up top. I personally would have liked to have seen Armstrong start up top instead of Lyndon Dykes, but I know others are less keen on him being on from the first whistle, with Marty himself seeming to be a bigger fan of bringing him on against a tired defence. Now, it was an even first half in terms of efforts, but it was QPR that would apply the most pressure within the first half an hour, and we looked the team most likely to score first. Paul Smith forced the first save of the game when he hassled his way into the box and wrapped a shot across from the right. Minutes later, Lyndon Dykes would have a half shot and header saved and was nearly set free in the box from an Elias Chair cross, but Rushworth came out to collect the ball. Elias Chair would have his first shot in the centre of the box on 22 minutes, although Swansea weren't without their own chances, with Matt Grimes and Joe Allen both having efforts before the half an hour mark, until Joe Allen was replaced through injury on 35 minutes. Our best chances to open the scoring came 2 minutes later when Elias Chair smartly intercepted Darling's pass out to the wing and sprung on the break, cutting inside and setting Joe Hodge through on goal, but his shot was excellently slide tackled by Wood. Hodge set us off again in the aftermath, playing a nice through ball behind the defence to Paul Smith, who played a dangerous low ball into the box which the Swansea defence clambered to clear, with the ball spilling into the path of Chair, who looked certain to stab it into the back of the net, but Darling was there to clear it off the line and redeem himself for setting off the move in the first place. Ironically though, after those 2 great chances for QPR to score, Swansea would have 2 of their own immediately after. They had been dominating the ball for most of the half, so it was inevitable in some senses. Their first real effort of danger came on 39 minutes when former Ars loanee Jamal Lowe played a sweeping cross to the back post, and Pereira Martins looked equally likely to tap it in at the back post, but Begovic made himself big and pushed it out to the left. And on 45 minutes, Swansea would go even closer, with Josh Timmins striking the ball sweetly from the edge of the box to the top right corner, and Begovic making an excellent save to keep the scoreline level. So on that basis, it was quite a relief when the whistle was blown for half time. We had played well and we'd had some very good attacks, but just like in the past 2 or 3 matches, our attackers are just lacking that killer instinct. Hodge and Chair probably should have both done better with their chances, though the former has recently enjoyed very little time for QPR, so I think we can put that one down to a little bit of rust. As usual though, a quiet Lyndon Dykes was the obvious candidate for replacement for me, but it would be Hodge who would make way for Armstrong, meaning we would start the second half with Sinclair up top and Lyndon back in his Joel Lyndon role. The problem was, Swansea, understandably buoyed by their 2 close chances at the end of the first half, would now dominate the ball and the chances for the next 25 minutes. The first would come on 47 minutes when Timmins' dangerous ball into the box after nutmegging Paul Smith looked right for Jerry Yates to nod into a gaping open right hand of the net, but Morgan Fox made himself known and put him off of the header. Fox was very good defensively yesterday, and one thing I find interesting is that Martí Cifuentes talked about the fact fact that even if Powell was not ill, Fox was always planned to come into this game because he wanted to be able to cope with Swansea in the air. And the strong defending of this chance alone vindicated that call. Clarke-Salter fouled Cooper on 55 minutes, and Matt Grimes' excellent following free kick looked certain to go in, but the crossbar spared our blushes, and Cooper forced another good save from Begovic immediately after. A minute later, Marty would make his second and third changes of the game, bringing in Lucas Anderson for Lyndon Dykes and Isaac Hayden for Jack Colback. Sensible decisions, because at this point we were yet to have an effort on goal in the second half, and Swansea was showing no signs of letting up in attack. And these changes did help, not only because Anderson would have our first shot 5 minutes later, but because Swansea finally did start slowing down for a moment, and it gave QPR a chance to get up the other end. And it turns out that getting up there just for a moment was all that we needed. On 70 minutes, Anderson played a ball into the box for Paul Smith to run onto, and his blind, weak shot was turned out for a corner. And from here, the unbelievable happened once more. Starting with the fact that a QPR team that have hated defending and attacking from corners this season actually scored from a corner routine. Anderson pumped the ball deep into the box, and Jimmy Dunn once again won the header, rising high and looping it back into the mix on the other side of the box. The ball fell as if in slow motion, watched carefully by the gaze of Steve Cook as it fell to him, and he rattled the ball on the volley into the bottom left corner, making it 1-0 for Rangers and Steve Cook's second QPR goal in as many matches. What the hell have they been feeding these defenders? That is an outrageous finish for a centre-back. At this rate, we're staying up, and we're doing it exclusively by defenders scoring worldies. Preparing for the Swansea response, Marty subbed on Chris Willock for Elias Chair, and Frey would soon join the pitch for Paul Smith. Fresh legs were much needed because Swansea would have another 4 shots in the next 4 minutes alone. Looking at the Swansea fans' response online, Frey is a player that delighted the home fans with just how much he didn't look like a footballer, but he would have very little opportunity to influence the game anyway because the Swansea pressure kept coming. We handled it though, not only through some excellent defending from Steve Cook, Jake Clarke-Salter and Morgan Fox, but the woodwork played its part one final time when substitute Gavia's floated cross to the back post beat Begovic and then hit the left-hand post and bounced out. It was a freak cross really, and it was one that would have been so unfortunate to concede from, but luck was on our side this time and the match finished 1-0. What an Easter weekend that was for QPR. After heading into Friday just a point above the relegation zone, we ended the long weekend 6 points clear of the bottom 3. And results were pretty favourable once again, with all but Birmingham and Blackburn dropping points. It was by no means a pretty win, and I don't think we could have had too many complaints had Swansea picked up a point at the very least. But sometimes you need those. We've been long overdue some luck, and we've got a fair bit of it in the last 2 games. We've talked a lot this season about the fact that this team just doesn't have many goals in it, and attacking wise that's not really changed too much over the past few matches, but it has elsewhere on the pitch. That's 3 goals from 2 centre-backs in the past 2 matches. And when you add in Sam Field's brace before the international break against West Brom, that's 7 points won from the 3 of them alone. And just look at our record. 7 wins, 4 draws and 2 losses in our past 13. And just look how good the away record is. 1 loss, 2 draws and 4 wins on the road. The job Marty Cifuentes is doing with this team is nothing short of miraculous. I think what I'm so impressed by is after being an incredibly one-dimensional team under Ainsworth at the beginning of the season, we seem to just find so many different ways of winning. It was very brave to make the number of changes that he did as well. That could have severely backfired if we'd lost the match, other results had gone against us, and that 4-point gap had suddenly been slashed back to 1. But Marty made brave, educated changes, and for the most part they paid off, and where they didn't, he corrected those during the game. Some have also noted that we've set it up in more of a 4-4-2 shape when we were off the ball, something that we've not really seen under Marty so far. So I'm quite fascinated by the fact that he's still experimenting, still making tweaks, even when we're in these crucial games. You have to remember as well that Swansea had lost just 1 of their past 6 going into this match, so this is a big result to have picked up. There is still a job to do, but like I said in the Birmingham post-match reaction, we are giving ourselves a very good chance of staying up. And with the form and confidence that we're currently in, I really like to think that that's not going to go wrong. Sheffield Wednesday up next on Saturday, which is another big game. They were on a very good run of form themselves, but are now winless in 4, so they will be desperate for a win at Loftus Road. Thank you so much for watching this video as usual. If you've enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you later this week for my Sheffield Wednesday match preview. Cheers!